Hey gang, Ronan here. Welcome on back to the Retrocade and welcome to the newest edition of our latest playthrough. And we, for this one, are going to go all the way back, nearest makes no difference, 25 years ago now, to 1997, 1998. And with everybody going around trying to get a copy of and playing Diablo IV, I figured why the heck not, let's go back and take on the original. We are going to play Diablo 1. Now, as I say that, I can already hear some of you pulling back on me a little bit, saying, wait a minute, Ronan, this is supposed to be all about console games. Why are you playing a PC game? Well, I can justify this because even though it did come out on Microsoft Windows PCs in January of 1997, in March of 1998, Blizzard, with a little help from Electronic Arts, EA, as you commonly know them now, ported it onto the PlayStation 1, and that is the version we're gonna play. So, in doing so, I want to see how well this game has aged over the last quarter of a century, and we're just gonna start a brand new game, one player, and if you have never played Diablo 1 before, in some ways I can understand because it's not an easy game to find now, although I'm pretty sure there are... I think you can get it on Battle.net, and I believe you can find a GOG copy of it to play on PC. It shouldn't be that difficult, but being able to load it and play it on Windows 10/Windows 11 systems can be tricky because of how old it is. And that's something I have run into with a lot of older games that I want to play on PCs of various degrees. Anyway, in Diablo 1, as opposed to its subsequent sequels, you only get 3 character types. You get a warrior, you get a rogue, you get a sorcerer. They are pretty self-explanatory. If you have never gone with a playthrough with me before, in these sorts of games, I'll tell you right now, if you like to see magic getting used, go watch somebody else play it, because I'm not a magic type guy. It's not to say that I don't see it has a use for it, but I love being a walking tank. So, I love knights, I love everything about the idea of having a sword in one hand, a shield in the other, and just tearing through dungeon after dungeon willy-nilly. So, for this playthrough, I'm going to be a warrior, and we're just going to play on standard normal mode. Because again, it's not to see how well I can do boring through every conceivable part of the game at the highest difficulty. I want to see how well this game is aged, and also how it holds up compared to its successors, of which in my spare time I've been playing Diablo 2 Remastered on Battle.net quite a bit. Only because I had the original CD-ROMs of Diablo 2, and again, as I stated earlier, I'm not able to get it to load on my Windows 11 PC. It's too old, it doesn't want to cooperate, they don't want to play nice with each other. So, where this game is based out of, it is set in the fictional kingdom of Condurus, which I did not realize was the actual name of this place until I started researching this, and as we will find out, everything is connected to this town we are in right now.
Much has changed since you lived here, my friend. All was peaceful until the Dark Riders came and destroyed our village. Many were cut down where they stood, and those who took up arms were slain or dragged away to become slaves, or worse. The church at the edge of town has been desecrated and is being used for dark rituals. The screams that echo in the night are inhuman, but some of our townsfolk may yet survive. Follow the path that lies between my tavern and the blacksmith's shop to find the church and save who you can. Perhaps I can tell you more if we speak again. Good luck.
So Ogden gets you started on the primary quest, which is go out to the church, find out what's going on, and then stop whatever's in there, and over the course of that, we will have the greater mystery unfold. Now we have him, we have Griswold the blacksmith, who we can obviously talk to about buying different items of different sorts. We don't have a lot of cash on us at this point in time, so it's pointless to do so. We have Cain the Elder, who can help identify items that we find that are of potential magical nature. He can do that for free. And then we can also do this gossip stuff where we get a little bit of lore about different parts of the town or different parts of the world that we're going to be exploring.
He knows his fair share.
Now you go over this way, and there is a cleric. His name is Pepin. He's a guy you want to talk to pretty much out the gate because you want to be able to buy a couple of healing potions. Although you will pick up a few early on.
Good day.
Now there's Jillian the barmaid. So if I want to talk to her about stuff, I can. And then up here is Wirt, who is a younger NPC. He's a boy who at some point tried to go down into the dungeon looking for treasure, got caught by monsters, and lost his leg in the process.
Over here.
So he's Wirt the peg-legged boy. Now, you can shell out a little bit of money to see what he has as far as specialty wares. I'm not going to bother, one, because I just spent my money, and two, the greater majority of the time, the stuff he has is overpriced and underpowered. And then the last person we can look up, she is way over on the outskirts of town. Cross this little bridge, and it will be Adria the Witch. And from her, we can buy scrolls, we can buy magical items, we can buy mana potions.
I sense a soul in search of answers.
So she's who we want to come to primarily to get scrolls as we go. That way we can identify different stuff, and we can have Scroll of Town portal, which is key to us being able to get out of potential hotspots and back to the safety of town. Now, with all that out of the way, we can head up to the church and get started, and along the way I will tell you why my fascination with this game pretty much started from the jump the first time I heard about it, and why, if you've never played it, why it's considered far and away one of the greatest video games ever made. Which may not seem like much now, because if you look at the graphics aren't that great by modern standards. I mean, you look at Diablo IV and they're nuts. Even remastered Diablo II graphics are quite impressive. I also want to be able to show you our inventory. We have a club, but we've also got we've got a short sword over here. We have a buckler shield over here, but we have no armor. We have no rings, which are these two squares here, if this D-pad will cooperate with me for a minute. This is where amulets go, which can give us the extra protection, and then obviously we have a space for helmets. But we don't have stuff for gauntlets, we don't have stuff for boots like you do in subsequent games. And then your inventory is pretty much laid out as you see it. You have a certain amount of space for each item you pick up, and then you can have potions and other stuff down here that you can have on standby. And into the dungeon we go. Now, I heard about Diablo coming to PCs in 1996. And back then, if you wanted to be able to go check out stuff like this, you didn't have the luxury of going online yet. You did to a very, very small degree.
This place has been fouled.
And you would have to check out a video game store or a computer store. And here in the Portland suburbs, where I lived for a really long time, there was a store called Egghead Software, which you may now know if you're a PC consumer, called Newegg online. Well, that's what it ended up becoming. And they had a standalone PC that you could try out different games on, and it had Diablo. And it was the first time I had seen outside of an arcade a setup where you had essentially a PC cabinet and a line of very eager gamers wanting to take a look at it and try it out. The level of expectation around... Ooh, I'll pick that up because I can sell it. That was a Book of Holy Bolt. But the level of expectation and just genuine interest in this game in 96, 97, before it really came out on the market, was colossal. And it was that way for a really good reason, because it was one of the first games that we had seen in the modern gaming era that had procedurally developed dungeons. And what I mean by that is, if you don't know the term, if you hit R2 on your PlayStation console, you can pull up the map. Well, the map is different every time you play it. Now, is it completely different? To a degree, yes and no. I mean, obviously what they have to do is take the general skeleton of whatever this dungeon is going to be and then organize it in a randomized way. And as much as we loved playing games like Legend of Zelda and games like that during the NES era and the Super NES era, this was the first time that computers have the ability to create that sort of randomness, which made replayability huge. You would play through this and then immediately want to turn around and play it again because you knew it was going to be a different experience each time you go. And Blizzard, at a time when they were so bent on getting... Ooh, I gained a level. We have a scroll of identify. You know, of really getting their foothold in the industry. You can't overstate the importance of having a game like this available for kids who were wanting to have something to play early and often, and experienced PC gamers who were looking for something different. So now that I can gain a level, I am wanting... Whoops. Come back here. I want to boost my vitality a little bit, and I want to boost dexterity a little bit, so I want to be able to maneuver out of the way of potential enemies. At this point right now, I can still hit pretty hard because these enemies, being the first dungeon, are not going to be very, very strong. And that was another thing that was really revolutionary about this game. It was also that along with the procedurally generated dungeons, there were procedurally generated items. Like, there was no guarantee that each creature that I'm sacking here would give me the same stuff. Like, obviously, some of them are giving me gold, some of them are giving me potions, some of them are giving me scrolls. As you get further along in the game, some of them give you standard weapons or items. Some of them start giving you magical weapons and items. You never know. And then you will also run into elite or boss level creatures who will give you unique items. And the unique items are the ones you're really looking to latch onto. Now, in terms of gameplay, this also isn't a difficult game to work around because on a PlayStation console, again, while I'm playing the PS1 version, your X button was the attack. If you want to pick up an item, like I'll pick up this cap, you hit the square button. Now, if I want to use a potion, I can hit R1, or L1 rather. L2 pulls up your magical screen. R1 would have me utilize a mana potion, which again I don't need at the moment. Start pauses the game as you saw, and then select pulls up your options menu. So for the purposes of just covering my hat, or covering my head, I'm going to put my cap on. And as you can see here, I have these Book of Charged Bolt and Book of Holy Bolt. I don't have enough magic requirements because I'm currently sitting at 10 to be able to utilize these. So again, I can sell those back in town to Adria and make pretty good money on it. So I've gone as far as I can this way, and that's R2 pulls up the map, which for me was always crucial because these mazes or these dungeons can get very labyrinthine. So even having a quick key to be able to call the map up so I can see who's, where I'm going. Is a great little perk to have. Now, I will say, an area where it hasn't aged well. Ooh, and I can sell that scroll of Inferno. Is that the graphics are a little bit pixelated. Which again, being a 25-year-old game now, is par for the course. They did not do a remastered version of the original Diablo, although I would imagine they could probably do one now and make it look just as good as the remastered Diablo 2, if not Diablo 3. But also the movement is a little bit stodgy, only because you can't run like you can later in Diablo 2 and Diablo 3, and I'm assuming in Diablo 4, which I have not played yet. Because again, it just came out a couple weeks ago. And I've been focusing on, at the moment, playing other things, specifically Final Fantasy 16 on my PS5. There, so go up to 30 and 23. And it's not hard to see where a game like this can provide inspiration for, everything that came along from World of Warcraft and Elder Scrolls. And even though I know obviously there were contemporaries in many regards in the 90s when Diablo came out, but for later iterations, I've got one more spot I need to go to, and I will head over this way. Everybody copies a little bit from somebody else, and if you're doing something that has as big of an impact as what Blizzard did in creating Diablo, you'd be a fool not to look at how they did it and go, okay, how can we incorporate the best elements of this into the game we're looking to create? So I tapped a shrine there, and I think that gives me a little bit of a damage boost, which I will gladly take. And there's a book down here. All I gotta do is take these skeletons out. There's a bow over here. I will take that. Pick up another scroll of identify. Another scroll of identify. Now, it is annoying that, as far as I remember, there is no tome of Identify and Town Portal where you can store your scrolls in. So we're at about 20 minutes. And we'll head down to level 2 and see what we can find. Ideally, what I'm hoping for is to find at least one Scroll of Town portal. Because my inventory is starting to pile up a little bit. I've got 477 gold, which will be helpful. Whoops, I didn't mean to do that. But I will take a potion of rejuvenation, which will increase both your health and your mana to a small degree. This goes down to the Dark Passage. Okay, well, at least I know. And this goes to level 3, which means I need to get back to town, because going to the Dark Passage will get me more information about a side quest. There are a whole lot of dead men coming my way, which usually tells me there's potentially an elite, if not, yep, Rot Feast the Hungry. And I think my cap is about worn out. Now, when you find yourself getting overwhelmed by different odds here, there's a couple things you can do. You can either move around and see if you can get one of the weaker guys and then be able to attack them. Or then you find a doorway and you bottleneck the enemies that are coming at you. Ooh, and we got an axe. And it's a magical axe, which means I can utilize a Axe of the Mind. Aha! So I can have the Axe of the Mind, but it's a two-handed weapon. And the durability of my cap is at 3 out of 15. Now, I genuinely do not know what happens to an item if it breaks or if it runs out of durability. What happens to it? Because I have never had that happen in all the time I have played this game. And I haven't played this game in a long time, but I can pick up a dagger, but I'm not going to worry about it. Because the dagger I would be able to sell for cheap. Hunter's bow. Ooh, I'll pick up a saber, though. Okay, so my buckler is now worn, and my shield, or my cap, is just about gone. So what I'm going to do here is I'm also going to level up really quick. And now that I'm at 30, 10, 25, and 30, I'm going to boost my strength a bit more. Oh, and there's a whole bunch of gold over here that I would have missed. Pick up the healing potion. Now I'm going to have to go back to town the old-fashioned way because I don't have a scroll yet. Now, the guy who created Diablo was a software designer named David Brevik. And one of the things he talked about in trying to make Diablo into what it became is he said, quote, "We were trying to get the ease of gaming." In that before Diablo, when you create a character, you had to answer 53 questions about this, that, and the other. You had to name it, give it a backstory, and so on. We just wanted to get in and start smashing things. Now, that's built on the premise of a lot of classic role-playing games, most notably Dungeons & Dragons, where you have to go through a very long, drawn-out process to create the character you're going to use in the game. And, to be fair, part of the fun in playing a role-playing game like that is designing a character that is completely bespoke to you. And there's nothing wrong with that. I've played D&D. I've played a lot of role-playing games over the years. And for me, one of the reasons why I like to play them and not necessarily run them is I prefer the idea of having the ability to create my own characters. Now, I'm going to sell both these books off because they're 250 gold each. That's going to be helpful. I'm going to sell Scroll of the Inferno. Sell that Book of Holy Bolt. I'm not going to sell anything else, but what I'm going to buy is I'm going to buy Scroll of Town Portal. 2, 3... and I'll call that good for right now because I need to go and get some gear. From Griswold. But Grevik had a point in that not everybody likes to be able to go through and do all that stuff. So, in that respect, just having a character you can pick with pre-designed class structure. I'm going to sell the Axe of the Mind. I'm going to sell the short bow. I'm not going to sell the saber. Because I want to repair everything. And then what does he have for basic stuff? He's got quilted armor, which I can definitely use. He's got a small shield, scimitar, large axe, mace. I can't use the warhammer. But I think the saber will hold me for right now. But I could definitely stand to have some armor. So I will do that because I got 1,400 gold. And I can have a stronger shield. I will get that. And I think that'll call it good. So what I want to do now is I want to equip my new toys. And the buckler will be... yeah, I mean, the durability for the small shield is 24, whereas the buckler was 10. I would love to be able to buy something sturdier than the cap, but it'll hold me for right now.
Whoa, what can I do for you?
I can sell off the short sword and the buckler.
Greetings, good master.
And see what I can find out about the Dark Passage. Somebody here will tell me what it is. Here we go.
I'm glad I caught up to you in time. Our wells have become brackish and stagnant, and some of the townspeople have become ill drinking from them. Our reserves of fresh water are quickly running dry. I believe that there is a passage that leads to the springs that serve our town. Please find what has caused this calamity, or we all will surely perish. What ails you, my friend?
Okay, so now I want to be able to buy a couple more healing potions really quick, since I have the money to do so. And as you can see, looking at the fountain where Kane is standing, that water is yellow. Once we go in and clear out the dark passage and rid whoever it is that's poisoning the water, that will go back to blue. And I think if we come up here to the river, it might look the same. Did they put it in there or not? No, they didn't. Okay. So anyway, we will head back over to the church. But we are at just a little past 30 minutes right now, so we'll wrap this one up before we head back in. And at least clear out what's happening in the church, if not take care of the dark passage as well. So, as always, if you've been enjoying the content on the channel, best way to show it, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new, ring the bell to be notified of the latest content. Remember, we do have Sports Saturday and Suckerpunch Sunday coming up this weekend, where we play a classic sports and fighting or fighting platform-based game from the 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th generation. Be sure to follow us on Instagram at Ronan's Retrocade. Spread the word about us. The sooner we get to 100 subscribers, the faster we can unlock the YouTube customization algorithm, and we can make this channel bigger and better. And as always, if there's a game you'd like to see us feature from the Nintendo Entertainment System, the Super Nintendo, the Sega Master System, Sega Genesis, or Mega Drive, SNK, Neo-Geo, Nintendo 64, PlayStation 1, or PlayStation 2, leave it in the comments below or drop me a line. It could be any game from those consoles that you want. And my name is Ron. It's been great to spend this first day of our playthrough of Diablo 1 with you, and I hope you will be back to see us again in the next episode. Be safe, be well, happy gaming. We'll talk to you then. Bye.